Hello everyone, welcome to Shikara Academy. The G20 expert panel has given a report on global inequality, and this report gives dangerous figures which are very concerning about the world and also about the India's inequality. So what is this report saying? The recent G20 panel, expert panel, it gave a report saying that there is unprecedented global inequality. There is high level inequality. 1% people are having 40% of the global wealth. So the total wealth of the globe is present with 1% population. So the major share, large chunk of the pie is going to the 1%. And the bottom 50% are having very less. The bottom 50% may be having 1 to 3% of wealth. So 40% of wealth is with 1% people and 1% wealth is with 50% of people. So this is very concerning and will raise many issues on different aspects. Inequality, it will threaten economic stability, social harmony. There will be so many issues socially. The rising of crimes, etc., will happen. And also, it will question the democratic legitimacy of the governments, how they are functioning. And it undermines the capitalistic model of economy. It also undermines India's Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. So 40% of the wealth is with 1% of population. Remaining 99% of population are having 60% of wealth. In case of India, it is even more concerning. Top 1% are owning 40% of India's wealth, according to the reports by Oxfam and World Inequality Lab. So 1% of population have 40% of wealth, whereas bottom 50% has around 3% of the wealth. So if this is the pie, 40% of the wealth is with 1% of people, and around 3% of the wealth is with 50% of people, and remaining are those, and also in the remaining more than 57% people who are having around 50% of wealth. So in this also, the top few people will share the major portion of the pie. So this is a very concerning image for India. What are the reasons this this inequality is existing? One is because of the jobless growths. Jobless growth is where the rich are getting richer. So if you take the example of service sector and industrial sector absorbs more labor, whereas service sector requires few labor, but it will give more output, more growth. So if only that sector is growing, then it is not creating any new jobs. Then such type of growth is called jobless growth. 1% getting richer and richer. His wealth is adding to the GDP. GDP is increasing, but is the income increasing? Is the income getting shared between people? No, it is not. So one is jobless growth. The other reason is wage stagnation. So the wages of people are still lower, but the cost of things, inflation is increasing, so that the value of money in the people's hand is decreasing. Another reason is unequal access to different people, marginalized people, for education, healthcare, digital tools, inequality in opportunities. In such case also, people will stay back. They are not able to grow. And weak redistributive taxation and social safety nets. So we are not having proper progressive taxes so that the rich will pay more. We do have, like income tax, we have corporate tax, but these are progressive taxations. But there are many loopholes which people use, like we have those MNCs, big MNCs, they try to avoid taxation by using double taxation laws, and they will place their companies in some small nations which are tax havens. In this way, the progressive tax which is supposed to reach the governments, which will be again distributed to the poor, it is not reaching the system. So in this way, different reasons are present for this inequality in income and wealth. One is jobless growth, and because of taxations, and governments also give tax cuts to corporates, because of which there is weak redistribution. And there is also a digital divide. Many people are unaware of using digital technologies, and privatization, which is leading to concentration of wealth. There are many factors which are leading to this income inequalities or wealth inequalities. What are the economic risks if inequality persists? If such inequality is persisting, imagine if a very rich person, he is earning more, will he start spending that money? He will save that money. So if the rich person is getting richer, he will choose to save that money. He will not spend whatever he was spending earlier, he will also spend the same amount in the future also. Whereas if the income of poor rises, he will start spending that money. So a 1% rise in income share of top 20%, it will reduce the growth, because they are saving that money. The money is not coming into market, it is not circulating. Whereas a rise in the bottom 20% people's income or wealth will increase the economy, will increase the growth of the economy. 20% increase in the economy. And also, these are the economic risks of this inequality. Another is the depressed demand. So when rich will save, while poor will spend. When rich are saving the money is not going to the hands of the poor people. The rich is not spending it, because of which the demand is decreasing, because of which loss of employment of people, recession, slow growth will happen. Whereas when people start to buy, the demand of products will increase. When demand is increasing, companies will start employing more people to produce more. So this is one factor. Another is human capital loss. Because of poor health, malnutrition, low education, etc., because of poverty, human capital is not properly developed, because of which it is having a circular vicious cycle type impact on the economy. Socially and politically also, this inequality will erode the trust in government, will erode the trust in the system of democracy. Because of concentration of wealth, there will be concentration of political power. Whoever has more wealth, they will have power, or they will back the power, because of which the policy capture is done by those people. So whoever has given money to a political leader and elected him, now the political leader who won the election, he will work for the people who gave him money. So such type of capture of policy happens because of such concentration of wealth. And it also, in this type of behavior, this type of nature of society, will rise resentment in the people. It will fuel the conflicts, social conflicts, polarization in people, populist policies will develop. So such type of impact on social and political level will happen. In India, we have marginalized groups like Dalits, Adivasis, women's. They risk exclusion from governance. And this growing inequality, it undermines the constitutional goals of social justice, equality, dignity, threatening social cohesion. All these issues rise when there is huge income inequality and wealth inequality. This G20 expert panel proposes to bring an international panel on inequality. For climate change, we have a panel called IPCC, International Panel on Climate Change, which tracks the climate change, which gives reports on climate change, which keeps a check on different factors. Similarly, this panel wants a body called International Panel on Inequality, which will keep track of global income distribution, global wealth distribution, similar to how this IPCC tracks the climate change. So this IPI will work to standardize data, guide the fiscal reforms, and push coordinated policy action forward to reduce the income inequality and wealth inequality. Key recommendations made by this panel is to introduce wealth tax and inheritance tax. And also it urges the governments to close the tax loopholes and curb the corporate profit sharing. So it wants to close the loopholes through which the corporates or capitalists save the taxes. They do not pay the taxes to the governments. And it wants to strengthen social protection, labor rights, and public service investment. For India, the recommendations are to introduce wealth and inheritance tax, to combat base erosion and profit sharing, which is where people will, to avoid double taxation, they will go into some tax haven countries and they will say that wherever they have produced, they will not pay taxes to that country. In that way, they will make losses to the governments of that country using the loopholes in the taxes. And governments have to invest in public health, education, nutrition to develop human resources. They have to create job-rich sectors, like they have to develop industries which are able to give more jobs. Like we have MSMEs, manufacturing sector. When we develop such industries, they will provide jobs to more people. They will absorb the excess labor which is present in the agriculture sector. Whereas service sector requires less labor, less workers who are skilled. Whereas the major mass unskilled workers do not have opportunity to get absorbed into service sector. Our Indian economy, the sectoral shift happened from agriculture to service sector without developing our industrial sector properly. Hence, it is important to focus on the industrial sector. We have to enforce competition laws. We have to curb monopolies to prevent one single company dealing with mass selling or marketing, etc. Such type of things. So in conclusion, inequality is a global emergency. Like COVID was a global emergency, this is a more serious global emergency. It is very much required to follow inclusive growth, which is essential for the Prime Minister's goal of Viksit Bharat 2047. Without reducing this income inequality, wealth inequality, we cannot see this Viksit Bharat becoming a reality. We have to demand progressive taxations, social protection networks, job creation, so that the inequality in income, inequality in wealth will decrease. So this is an emergency where we have to act now. So Shikara IAS Academy is bringing new courses on UPSC, where you are having discount of 25% till Wednesday. So take this opportunity. We also have group UPSC plus group 1 combined batches. We also have group 1 plus group 2 combined batches. We have group 1 batches and group 2 batches individually. So whoever is preparing for these examinations, take this opportunity and start your journey with Shikara IAS Academy. Today is 17th, till 19th you have this offer where you will get 25% off. Already on the discounted price, you will get additional 25% discount till Wednesday. So grab this opportunity. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next video.